Meditation is essential to students of spirituality. To be still and know is one of our greatest assets in everyday life. Whether experiencing meditation while sitting with soft music or walking in meditation in the water or on the beach, we are connecting to nature and to ourselves in these moments. Meditation develops our ability to see inwardly and to remain peaceful inside, regardless of outside circumstances. We draw from the wisdom that nothing can really happen to us unless we allow it to happen through us. Meditation is an amazing practice which clears the way for the divine knowing within all people. It creates a sacred space somewhere between what has happened and what is happening, allowing faith to reassure the spirit within. All is well, sings my soul. I encourage you now to find that comfortable place that you need to relax. And if you're willing, to close your eyes, to be still for this little bit of time as we focus on our meditation and breathe. And as we begin to quiet our minds and bodies, I invite you further and to journey with me into your heart center. Allow yourself to release any negative thoughts or feelings before you came here this morning. Perhaps you were a bit upset to be running late. Someone called at the last minute, a driver cut you off. You might have even had to decide whether you would come to church or not. So let all of that go Just let it go, and as you do, exhale. Release it. I now invite you into your heart center to have peace and calm as you exhale. Breathe. 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 Relax into the sweetness of the calm and peace. And if you are willing, allow the journey of your breath to become your life source, for it truly is. And from the instant your breath enters your body, it is God's energy. It sustains, it enlivens, it energizes, so you can be whole, healthy, joyful. It goes into the tissues and muscles of your entire body, into your brain, limbs, torso, thigh, legs, feet. Breathe. And as your breath enters your heart center, visualize with me the rhythm and flow of life, inviting you to be willing to accept yourself as I am, for you truly are. Breathe. Breathe. Know your I am. Be still and know I am. Be silent for just a bit and know further your I am. Sit in silence just for a bit. Know your I am. And now at this time, I would like to invite you further to feel free to say out loud or in the silence of your heart the name of any person you feel to pray for as a request or a blessing. And for these names spoken or held in the silence of our hearts, let it be. So it is. Namaste. Oh, I forgot. We have a guest.
You know
Who is it?
I'm Eddie. I like doing this because I never know what I'm going to say. And let there be light. All righty. Well, I think you've been told my name is Helen Truesdale, and I've been in Unity for a decade and 4 years. It's 14, right? All right. And Mr. Livinggood here, in my personal life, I'm not going to tell you everything. So don't get excited or leave. He's my best friend. He's my life companion. He's my sweetheart. Plus he mows the grass. And cleans the gutters. And I cook for him. Terry Livinggood is an amazing person. And the universe blessed me the day we met, and further when we hooked up. Yeah, all right. I told you this can be dangerous. I'm having so much fun, we may skip the talk. Terry has authored 2 books. The Awakening to Self-Mastery and the Bible for Translating from Physical to Spirit. The first book he wrote, I read from cover to cover. This was before I hooked up with him. 15 times. The book changed my life. And for the first time, I slept with this book. I would wake up in the night and read from this book. But it changed my life because I became the spiritual person in this physical body. And Terry went on to sort of upgrade his writing, I call it, got a little bigger in it. And he wrote his second book, which we have over here, Awakening to Self-Mastery. So I think my time's up. Can't think of anything else, so Master Livinggood.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Great music. I really love the music here at this church. We've been here a few other times. And we tell anyone that will listen to us how great the music is here. And how great the energy, your collective energy that you bring into you, that you bring together. It's really nice to be here. And it's really great to be with all of you. We'll get started here in just a moment. That's a tricky thing. Well, this morning, I'm going to talk about you. I'm going to talk about God. I'm going to talk about oneness. The oneness of you and God. Now I invite you to think with me. And I'm not asking you to change your mind about anything. But perhaps there'll be something I say that will just spark a different level of thought of your own. I've had the privilege of traveling quite a bit throughout this country and have explored several spiritual centers and communities and monasteries. And this included some Hindu and Zen centers and a Tibetan center and a Carmelite center for you who are Catholic that know about Carmelite centers, and as well as a variety of unity churches and also religious science. And in doing so, I began to ask myself the question, what is the greatest thing I can possibly experience in this lifetime? What is the greatest thing I can possibly experience in this lifetime? So my main objective when traveling was to learn what I could from each of the spiritual centers. And the first of those spiritual centers was, of all places, Unity Village in Missouri, which of course is the world headquarters of all of the Unity churches. And Unity Village became my home base for a few years, and during the 1980s I took more than enough classes there to become a licensed Unity teacher. And I also became quite acquainted with the Unity Village Library, which is one of the largest metaphysical libraries in the world. And through the director of the library, I had the privilege of being guided and directed to some of the material that was in the archives, much of which was authored by Charles and Merle Fillmore. Now, some of this material had never been published for the public. And I found it to be quite interesting and enlightening. And that it was above and beyond what I had been reading and hearing around unity in general. And I was told that it had been considered too advanced for the basic unity student. Well, one of the areas that initially captured my attention was this thing called oneness. Oneness with God. And I soon realized that even among unity people, oneness with God has many different definitions and different perceptions. And each perception and definition is according to each person's consciousness and understanding. So oneness, just like love, has many definitions. Like feeling the love of God or love for God is much different than feeling love for some kind of sports, like a basketball game. Or feeling love for anything that you love to do, or even love for another person. So like love, there are different definitions for oneness with God. Different meanings for different people, coming from different levels of understanding. But in Charles Fillmore's later writings, I was reading that it was more than oneness with God. Oops, I went too far. That it was more than oneness with God. It was oneness as God, as pure godness. And I saw that Mr. Fillmore's beliefs about oneness were definitely aligned with the teachings of Jesus. Now see, Jesus knew this oneness. And that is why he said that all of the things that I do, you could do too. You know, he tried to tell the people that I and God are one. And it went on to say, you know, that all of these things that I do, you could do too. He knew the same was true for each of us. And he went on to convey this to the people back then by reaffirming that they each were God's. And I know that if he was here today, he'd be saying the same thing about each of you. It doesn't change. Eric Butterworth is a well-known unity minister and author. And in his book, Discover the Power Within You, he writes that you must come to believe about yourself what Jesus believed about himself. That we are divine in creation and limitless in potentiality. So, I began to do some deeper thinking about this. There's Jesus and God being one, and believing about ourselves what Jesus believed about himself, in order to not be so subject to the laws and limitations of the physical world. Now, I had already accepted the belief that God was an omnipresent energy and intelligence. The energy and intelligence from which each of us, from which everything and everyone exists. But with further contemplation, I came to realize that something else was omnipresent. That was atoms. atoms. So, I began to wonder, could it be that there was a correlation between God and the atom? Well, then later, at some point, I heard Dr. Wayne Dyer, and I imagine that nearly everyone here knows who he is. In one of his TV specials was telling that Deepak Chopra and some other highly respected doctors and scientists have been doing some extensive research regarding the atom. And they had concluded or determined that there was nothing in an atom of physical matter. No physical matter in there. That there was nothing there but just pure spirit. And some of them, he said, for lack of a better word, we're calling it God. Simply pure God energy. Well, that really made sense to me. When I heard that, I thought, oh yes. God being the innate energy and intelligence from which every atom is composed. The atom is composed of nothing else. And each of you is a natural composition of this atomic power and divine intelligence. Charles Fillmore had a great interest. Charles Fillmore had a great interest and a great mind for such matters, such as the composition of an atom. And in his book, Atom Smashing Power of the Mind, he wrote that if all of the energy in a single atom was suddenly released, it would have the power to bring down a 6-story building. Again, you are composed of millions of these atoms. If you just get them all lined up and use them in a certain way. You are a natural composition of this atomic power and divine intelligence. a natural composition of pure spirit, the spirit that we call God. Albert Einstein, whose many conclusions to this day are considered incredibly valid, said that it is not real, that in reality the physical body does not exist. And scientifically, perhaps this was best, that it was best explained when he concluded that what we have heretofore called matter is energy, whose vibrations have been so lowered as to be perceptible to the senses. And he went on to say that there is no matter. So, could that mean that our physical body is simply an appearance? Well, ancient teachings called matter appearances, indicating or meaning that physical manifestations and situations are simply lowered vibrations of spirit, of pure God energy. Now, this has not been widely taught and accepted by humanity in general, because it's been beyond the comprehension of so many, including ministers and teachers of various faiths. But I do know that your Reverend Martha has a great understanding of all that I'm sharing with you. She's a great teacher, a great minister, a great leader. You're so blessed. So, what appears as your body is in fact an energy field. And it's created from the exactness of God. Yes, we are made in this image and likeness of God. You've heard that many times. And what I understand, too, from different sources, that the intended meaning, the original intended meaning of image and likeness was exactness. The exactness of God. So, what appears then is that you are, which is, there's no body. So think about this. We are created from the exactness of God, and since God is spirit, then we are spirit by nature. And you all, any of you might think, well, wait a minute, Terry, this all feels real right here. It's got to be real. So why does it feel so real? Well, what makes matter appear real is known as physical-minded consciousness. But physical-minded consciousness can be overcome. To start with, just know that we are made out of this likeness of God. And of course, as you already know, Unity teaches that we are spiritual beings, just showing up with a physical body. And of course, although challenged, this has never been proven otherwise. There's a beautiful picture hanging on the wall of the Unity Church in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, where we usually attend. And in that picture, with that picture, are the words, "From everlasting to everlasting, you are God." Quite a statement. From everlasting to everlasting, you are God. Just think how far you could take that statement. You could just go on and on and on, infinitely. Now, in a moment, not now, I'm going to invite you to just close your eyes for a few seconds to think about that. And to feel the godness of which you are created. To feel the godness of which you are composed. To take it in. And to feel what the soul you are is conveying to you. Now understand, I'm sure that most of you do, that your soul, the soul that you are, is pure spirit. It is your kingdom. Your personalized energy field. And just think about the heart of your soul being the kingdom within of which Jesus spoke. It's been said that your soul is your individualized spirit. It is the essence of your spiritual self, the real self, the essence of God, and that the pure innate intelligence of your soul is identical with the intelligence of God. So, therefore, your soul is God expressing. So I invite you to take a few seconds now to close your eyes and listen to your soul. Let it convey to you a deeper meaning, a deeper understanding of who and what you are. The oneness of God. From everlasting to everlasting, you are God. And with your eyes still closed, as much as you can, just feel the godness of which you are. Yes, the very essence of further spiritual awakening and attainment is being aware of ourselves as spiritual beings. A composition or a creation of an infinite spiritual system and one with all of the powers and capacities of that spiritual system. An individualized oneness of allness. And as you are fully aware of this and have actually become the consciousness of it, you can experience and enjoy the greater things that Jesus spoke of. And you will find yourself being less and less subject to the laws and limitations and disharmonies of the physical world. There are no limits within this good life. But keep in mind also that you cannot fully experience this spiritual life, these spiritual capabilities in the divine way they're intended until you have become a person of integrity and have become Christ-like love, the energy of all-encompassing love. And as you align with these principles, you are awakening to self-mastery. Or you could say awakening to spiritual mastery. They're both the same thing. And now, actualizing this may seem a bit far-fetched to some of you, but it is no more out of reach than what high school studies are for elementary students. It just is a natural progression. Yes, you just naturally walk into it according to your faith and your dedication and your focus. Now, what I've been sharing with you about you and God and oneness is some of the most advanced but basic teachings that unity was founded upon. And there need not be any deep mystery about it. It is our original state of oneness as spirit before time began and before our materialization. It's about going back home, our infinite spiritual home. And actually experiencing the infiniteness of this oneness really is quite simple and easy when you understand these certain principles of life and cooperate or align with them. And as you do, you will find that any perceptions of mystery are changed to a consciousness of mastery Unity ministers who have told me that what I'm sharing with you is the next step in our spiritual evolution. Evolving beyond physicality. And again, it is no more far-fetched than what it took for computers and cell phones and GPSs to come into existence. All of that was something that was beyond most people's comprehension, just a few years ago. And here it is. It basically takes the same principles to accomplish this, what I've been sharing with you. Visualization, holding thoughts in mind, dedication, and realizing that regardless of where we are with our thinking, it is only a stepping stone on to a greater level of thinking. And of course, from that greater level of thinking just comes naturally then a greater level of consciousness. And it is through our consciousness is what we are experiencing as our own personal reality. So as the masters have taught, when you realize who and what you truly are, all things are possible. There are no limits. And remember, you can create it all to be with fun. One of our well-known, fun-loving, sometimes philosopher, Dennis the Menace, said something one time when he was going to bed. He was heard saying that I have never had as much fun as what I'm going to have tomorrow. Now, think about how Dennis and what his mom was looking like, when he said that. But seriously, I think that would be something that would be a great prayer for each one of us. A good moment by moment prayer. We might even change the words a little bit and say, I've never had as much fun as what I'm going to have today. Or, I've never had as much fun as what I'm going to have with changing and creating with my new consciousness. Or, hey, what about this? I've never had as much fun as what I'm going to have with rising up into my greatness. How about that, David? Rising up into my greatness. Just like our opening song. Rise up. Well, remember also that your every spoken word, your every thought is creative energy. And that's what prayer is creative energy. So just keep in mind that your every thought, your every spoken word is your prayer. And you can just keep in mind too that you can just create it all to be with harmony and fun. You can create it to be that way. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out process. Unless you think that it has to be. It doesn't be a hard, difficult path to travel. Now, there is so much more that I would share with you as I would in a seminar. But I guess until then, you might just have to read the book. For I have just skimmed across the top of some of what is in the first half of the book. Because after that, it really gets into some it's good stuff. The book will be available over here after the service. It's all based on the teachings of Jesus, and of course Charles Fillmore. I used him for a pattern too, and ideas there that came from the archives of the library, and as well as a few other masters. There's nothing intended to be theoretical in it. Someone asked me earlier, what the price of it was. Well, it says on the back of the book here, it says $20. But I tell you what, I didn't do this book. It wasn't written for money. It was written some thoughts and some things to be shared. And so whatever you think it would be worth to you, that's fine too. If you think it's worth 15, that's fine. If you think it's 10, that's fine. If you want to trade me a chicken or something like that. If you always want it. or if you think it's worth 50.
Yeah, Terry, I'm on vacation.
Well, if you think it's worth 50, that's fine, because the book is priceless. One thing that I'll mention about the book is a little different than some of the other books are. There's not intended to be a single negative statement in the book or word. Every word and phrase was measured. There's a method of measuring words for their vibrational frequency. And for example, I think the term unconditional love that you all have heard many, many times, I think it may be used in this book one time, only one, but in its place is the phrase all-encompassing love. Because if you measure the frequency of those two words, all-encompassing will measure a lot higher than what unconditional does. But the mind sees the word conditional in there. So all-encompassing. Another thing about the book, God is never referred to with a gender pronoun.
Yay!
And also, there's a copyright in the book that says that what does this say? All rights to this book are reserved except for non-commercial reproduction. Except for non-commercial. In other words, what that means is that non-commercially you were invited to copy and share from this book without compromising integrity. Of course, you're going to do it anyhow. There you are. Now, I don't know how much time. Do we have a little bit of time left? I don't know.
A little bit.
A little bit?
A little bit, sure.
Okay. I would like to go ahead and maybe invite you to ask any questions or share or make any comments that you have, any of you have. If not, well, we'll just get out early. You can pepper me with any kind of question that you might have. That'd be the easiest part of the service for me, probably. Yes.
We may not have it now until we read it, but do you have an email address, so after we read it, we can ask you questions?
Oh, yes, certainly. I get emails and texts a lot. People making comments or asking questions about the book and so forth. So you are always invited to get in touch with me in any way. All the contact information is in the book. I don't think my phone number is in there, but there is a website for the book. And the website is spiritualmastery.net. So in other words, it's the Spiritual Mastery Network. Yes?
Margaret came from a Pentecostal background before she got into Unity.
Yes.
What background did you come from?
A variety. I did have some Pentecostal background for a few years, but soon I felt like I was the black sheep of that family, so to speak. And so I moved on and to something different. And so, but primarily it was Protestant. I've never had much Catholic background, but I've attended and been a part of Catholic services since then. So,
Pick 3 more up.
somebody's getting their books in their possession already.
Hey, Terry, I'll just pass them out.
Whatever, and they can just give the money to him. Yes?
Is it available on Amazon in an ebook?
No, it's not. The book was self-published, and I just never had the felt to go ahead and go with that route, although I've been encouraged by a lot
In
of
the
people.
future.
Yeah, it would, I know, and I have plans to look into that when I get back home. I have a friend back there that is knowledgeable about such things and said, hey, I'll help you out. Yes.
I was wondering about the atoms and the energy, and the connection between matter and spirit. You're saying that all matter is spirit. God is in the rock. God, not just in us, not just in living creatures, but in.
Well,
I mean, my car is made out of spirit.
well,
Is that what you're saying?
I know
Is
what
it
I can say
everything,
about that,
even-
but it might take a little while,
Uh-huh.
to really cover it. But I think when you are of a high enough consciousness that you can, the wall, you can see the wall there, but you can move through it. And the same way with other vehicles. I know that's kind of a tricky question, and I've thought about that a lot. There's a lot of things I don't totally or fully feel I don't understand, but I don't get hung up on what I don't understand yet. I'm not letting that be a stumbling block on the path at all. But I can share with you, like people like what Wayne Dyer was saying, about there being no physical matter in an atom. That's what those doctors and scientists had determined.
Mhm.
And so I just begin to correlate that, with God and the atom. And for me it was easy. It was easy then to get this feeling that God is an omnipresent energy. Well, I guess we can bring it all to a close now. There's a prayer in the back of the book that we can bring this to, bring it to. There it is. And we can change this prayer. It is written in the first person where it says, I go forth, but we could also, and I'll read it first so that you can get a preview of what it is, because this prayer was written to go along with this word here. And I'll just read it the way that we could say it this morning. That we go forth with the God energy of which we are composed, being perpetually activated and amplified as we move further into experiencing and enjoying the infiniteness of God. So, can we say that together then? We go forth with the God energy of which we are composed, being perpetually activated and amplified as we move further into experiencing and enjoying the infiniteness of God. And so it is. Thank you all.